All right, YouTube, what is going on, guys? What day is it? Happy Wednesday. This is the day I'm filming it. If you're watching this on a Sunday when I release it, happy Sunday. Hope you all had an awesome week. And without further ado, let's get started. I believe we're on episode 16 of this podcast series. And again, every week, I just want to enlighten you guys, help you guys chase your goals and your dreams, and just want you guys to accomplish so much. So again, I hope these episodes, guys, are bringing you value. And this one's a pretty valuable episode today because it's really about pushing your limits and what it really means and why you should always want to push your limits. Because the fact of the matter is this, guys, is if you want to be great at something, if you want to dedicate yourself to a higher version of yourself, if you want to dedicate yourself to something meaningful in this life, it is without a doubt so important to push your limits day in and day out. And that doesn't mean necessarily burning out. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to go crazy all the time and, burn the candle on both ends, if you will, and end up burning out. But you do want to push your limits, and you do want to make yourself a better version of yourself, because when you push your limits, and let's say you work more than usual, or you push yourself more in working out, or you push yourself more to be a better man or woman in terms of a relationship. You push yourself to be a better friend. When you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself in a good way, what tends to happen is you have a lot of immediate gratification afterwards. And also, too, you have a lot higher self-esteem with yourself. So before we dive into the lessons here, guys, a quick story for you is that when again, back in 2024, back in January, the start of 2024, I really decided to myself that I was going to make something of myself. I was going to dedicate myself to two things. That was my business, which means personal training business, and I was going to dedicate myself to being the best possible man I could be. And both of those things so far this year have been very, very challenging, because every single day I'm up early in the morning, working hard, or working out, then I'm working on my business, or I'm working at my gym, and I'm doing all these things, and I'm trying to make sure I can, also have a social life too. I'm pushing my limits all the time. And every day is not easy. Every day is very hard. But what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is the journey I've been on these past few months of just pushing myself every day has been so beneficial, because I've accomplished so much more already this year than I have last year. And I've grown so much this year than I have last year. So a point I'm trying to make, guys, is don't be afraid to push yourselves. Don't be afraid to become the best version of yourself. And heck, don't be afraid to give this life everything you have, because you guys and girls out there watching are capable of so much more than you think. I know life is hard. I know life can boggle you down. I know you guys can get very stressed. But if you just push yourself and push your limits day in and day out, I guarantee you have a higher self-esteem of yourself. So without further ado, guys, let's dive in right here. So why is it important to push your limits? And I kind of touched a little bit earlier in the episode, is you can achieve so much more when you push your limits. When I was starting my career out about 5 years ago, I would push myself hard, but then I would give myself a day or two or three to rest and recover. And hey, rest and recovery is great. But I was like, you know what? I think I can challenge myself more. I think I can do more. I think I can go the extra mile and really accomplish more than I'm setting myself out for. And just by adding on maybe another hour of work to my business, or adding on another personal training client, I was able to achieve so much more. So the first lesson here, guys, if you just decide you push your limits, as in you wake up earlier, or you maybe stay up later to get work done, or maybe you decide to work an hour extra, or maybe you decide to, be a better friend and try to make more time for your friends. When you push your limits and push yourself always to be the best version of yourself, you achieve so much more. And it's such a self high, and such a it's such a great self-worth that it gives you, that when you're able to push yourself and you're able to push your limits, you can just achieve so much more. If you had told me 3 or 4 years ago I would be in the position I would be in now, I would say you're crazy. I would believe you, but I would say that's nuts, only in 5 years' time. And I've accomplished a lot of my goals in my journey of being a trainer and being a business owner, simply through hard work and simply just through pushing my limits. So the first lesson here, guys, is when you push your limits, when you give it everything you got, you guys can not only achieve so much more, but you can show yourself how much more capable of things you are, which kind of ties into the second point here. And the second lesson here, guys, is you can do so much more than you thought was possible. When I was really trying to get my, career started, and this is a big message to anyone who's lost. I didn't know if I wanted to be in the military. I didn't know if I wanted to be a personal trainer. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. All I know is I liked fitness. I liked, our country. I wanted to defend our country. I wanted to do all these things. So I was, you know what? I was like, I want to make a decision. and I'm going to stick with one thing. And I'm just going to push my limits and see how far I can take this thing. And 5 years later, guys, I picked personal training and I decided every single day to push my limits and to see how far I can go. Because even if you push your limits and you fail, you're still pushing yourself and you're still being a better version of yourself because you're pushing yourself harder and harder and harder and harder. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, for the second lesson is when you push your limits and you achieve more, you're like, oh my gosh, not only am I achieving more, but I'm actually even pushing myself to limits that I didn't even know are possible. And when you push yourself to those limits that you don't even know that were possible, it is so rewarding. It is so gratifying and just so grateful because then you can then pass on the knowledge that you're learning from pushing yourself to the younger generation. You can pass it to maybe a friend or a family member who is struggling, because I'm telling you guys right now, when you push your limits and you achieve more than you thought you were capable of, people will come up to you and be like, hey, how are you doing this successful business? How are you staying so active? How are you staying so healthy? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? And people who are into fitness know this. There's no magic pill. All it simply is you're just disciplined and you're consistent. You're just disciplined and consistent, and you're day in and you're day out with not a ton of rest. And obviously the rest is important, but when you're consistent and you're disciplined and you're saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. When you do those things, guys, what tends to happen is you're like, holy crap, I'm able to push myself so much more than I thought. And that is, so rewarding. That is so, gratifying. And I think it's such a great feeling. So again, the first two lessons, guys, are you're able to achieve so much more, and you're also able to do more than you thought was possible. And the third and final thing, which kind of relates to, this podcast here, is you were able to accelerate your growth and success so much. I'm 23 years old. I was voted the best trainer in Bucks County. I have the best clientele in the world, and I'm in the best business in the world. And those three things ring true. I would put my clients up with anyone in the world because they are the best clients in the world. And the only reason why I've grown to be able to train so many awesome clients isn't because I'm smarter than anybody else, isn't because I'm even necessarily better than anybody else. It's just simply because I don't have an off button. There's a great quote where one of these business owners that I watch on YouTube a lot, he's a great guy, Alex Hormozy. I recommend you guys watch him if you don't know who he is. He says champions are broken. Champions, they have trauma, how all of us do. They have all these problems that we've addressed in previous episodes. They have all these things. And champions are tired just like us. But the only difference between a champion and then someone who's not a champion is that champions just don't have an off button. They just keep going and going and going and going and going. That doesn't mean they don't fail. Champions fail, people fail, I fail. Everyone fails. Everyone fails. But the question is, when you fail, how can you pick yourself back up, and how can you push yourself to be the best absolute person you can be? Because I guarantee you guys, if you're able to push yourself day in and day out and give this life everything you have, you will not only accelerate your growth, but you'll become so much more successful, and you will just do so much more than you guys thought was possible. So again, guys, push your limits day in and day out. Give this life everything you have. Don't try to be don't avoid things. Don't avoid stress. Don't avoid anxiety. Instead, attack it head on, and say, "Hey, why is this giving me stress? Why is this giving me anxiety?" If you want to get a raise in your job, challenge yourself to do what you need to do to get a raise in your job. If you want to become a business owner, hey, challenge yourself with starting a business. If you want to become whatever, you can do whatever you want to do. But nothing is worth it if you do not push yourself. It's meant to be hard, and it should be hard. So push your limits, guys, day in and day out, and you will see success. Again, that's about all I have for you today. I'm trying to make these episodes a little bit more shorter. That way you guys get some good value out of them. Again, don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to get quick and right to the point. Remember, guys, keep fitness is the way forward. Keep God first, and be sure to push yourself every single day. Do not rest in the middle, rest at the end. Push, 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 push. Be sure to rest and don't burn out, but push yourself. And I promise you, you guys will not have any regrets in this life. I thank you guys for supporting me. I thank you guys for just watching these episodes. And I hope you all have a great week. Push your limits this week. Don't be afraid to attack each day. And let's just keep getting better every single day, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this episode, and I hope you all have a great week. Let's get better let's get better every single day. All right, guys. See ya.